Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Psych Opinion. Tonight we are these three in particular.
Magic number.
Three amigos.
The three Stooges.
There we go.
I'll go with Stooges, but if we're going to do that, I'm going to be like Curly. I like Curly, actually. I'd say Rob's more of a Larry. That makes you Mojen.
Guess so.
All right, so tonight we are not discussing Three Stooges. We are discussing superstitions. And why are we discussing superstitions on this horror channel, you may ask? Well, I think superstitions have a lot to do with horror because not only are superstitions wrapped up tightly in a lot of horror movies and referred to in a lot of horror movies. I mean, hell, one of the most popular movies ever is Friday the 13th, which is obviously a superstitious thing. But also, I think that I was kind of sitting here going through the roots of superstition, and I also think that a lot of it is wrapped up or correlated with, and I think Jen would kind of like where I'm going with this. But I mean, I almost think superstitions are like tiny fables or folk tales, if you will. They don't have the whole story involved, but it's like a lot of them are kind of wrapped up in that witchcraft, magic, voodoo type of thing. A lot of them actually have roots in Christianity as well.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, it feels like they should all have roots in, myths or fables. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I would say it's actually like folk tales little cousins or something, if you will.
I like that.
I know Jen's into that, so I kind of wanted to go in that direction because that's kind of how I was thinking about it today. I was like, because there's that lesson to learn, if you will, but they don't really tell a story. Maybe we might be able to get into some of those stories tonight so that folks can know, because I found it very interesting to kind of find out a lot of the history of these things. But they don't have the drawn out story like the fables with the animals or the folk tales where people go and do this and this and that and this and that happens and then they learn this valuable lesson. But the lesson's there nonetheless, just without a drawn out story. So, with that being said, I was looking up the origins of superstitions, and I don't think anybody knows. Okay? Because I think this is one of those things where it's like you could read 100 papers and they'd be like, well, because I found that it started in the Babylonians, and then I found out that the concept was found in ancient Greece in the 4th century BC, and then I found out that it was wrapped up with Christianity, and that the ancient Romans, had a part in this, and basically every culture had this, but it's like there's no real starting point. It's not like, and God said, "Let there be superstition."
I feel like a superstition will be around no matter what time era, whatever. If people gather and create a community, superstitions are just going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. And I think that I feel like superstitions play a part in all of our lives, whether we realize it or not, subconsciously or consciously, because who hasn't, I don't know, walked under a ladder and at least thought about that, like the whole don't walk under a ladder. Who hasn't seen a black cat and kind of thought about the superstition of the black cats? Who hasn't broken a mirror and thought about, the broken mirror superstition? So, I mean, these things are they're in our everyday life. And I think subconsciously or consciously we do, if maybe not if adhere, but we at least acknowledge them, if you will.
Yeah, I feel that.
Jen, I know you did some research. Did you find out the beginning of superstitions? Do you know where they came from?
I mean, I know pretty much the same as you.
Short answer is no.
It's come from
don't.
a lot of different cultures. Rude.
I'm just kidding. Sorry.
It's come from a lot of different cultures, like you were saying. Some of it's from Christianity, Egyptians, so forth.
Egyptians.
Celtic ones, yeah. Greece, yeah.
But
yeah,
and there's some friggin' weird ones, by the way, that I came up with, and I just wanted to share one that I saw like right before we started this. I was kind of perusing my notes here, and don't chew gum at night. When you chew gum at night, according to the Turkish legend, it turns into the flesh of the dead. stuff.
What?
Yeah.
So, oh.
I had to make sure we covered that because I was going through my notes before we started, and I was like, that is just weird.
That's
I have
an odd
never
that-
heard that one before.
Well, that's because
Yeah.
you've never been to Turkey.
Yeah, true.
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's-
Maybe they gave too many people, or I guess chewing gum at night gave people some really weird dreams.
if I had to guess, I don't know. It's that probably came from one of those weird things where your parents tell you the thing. You know, how many kids were told
Maybe
watermelon seeds or apple seeds or whatever would grow in your stomach, or something like that. It's probably
swallow your gum, it's going to get stuck in there and it'll never come out.
Yeah,
I've heard that one.
Yeah, we all literally have 10 pounds of gum somewhere. I mean, stuck in us. It's possible with me. I get, but I need to work some gum off for sure. But I doubt it's still there. But I think a lot of these things also start with that. I think some of them are just as innocent as parents are like, I don't want my kids going to sleep with gum in their mouth. Kind of friggin' morbid, in my opinion, to tell them that it turns into human flesh. Maybe having a watermelon growing in your belly is a little less disgusting, but it is what it is. So, Jen, did you want to lead us off in a couple of your favorite ones that you found? Kind of maybe bring some around.
There is something that I do want to talk about. I want to know what superstitions you guys grew up with, because I know mine. And I'm just curious to know if they're the same or similar to everyone else's. I know knock on wood was a big one. I remember everybody in middle school and high school and even in my 20s a little bit, everybody, even at work, the place I used to work, they were always knock on wood. And I always thought that superstitions were kind of silly, but I do remember participating in that one a little bit, even though I thought it was silly. I remember always saying, I'm not very superstitious, but sure, why not? And I would knock on the wood.
Well, if it makes you feel
crossing your fingers too.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Crossing fingers was the big one.
If it brings any comfort to you, I have that right here, and it started as a Celt pagan culture thing, the knocking on wood, and they believed that spirits and gods lived in the trees. So knocking on the trunks intends to rouse the deities to give protection or a stroke of good luck if done in gratitude.
Yep.
It also
I also have that one written.
In the Christian faith, it also has to do with the cross. Knocking on the cross or knocking on wood represents knocking on the cross, which is kind of creepy. I don't know why we're knocking on the cross, but yeah. So do you guys know why the number 13 is unlucky?
I do now because I looked it up.
I was going to say, I don't. So enlighten me.
Jennifer.
Oh, sure.
One of you. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Well, it possibly stems from Judas.
Judas.
Judas, that's right. Being the 13th guest at the Lord's Supper. Also, Loki being the 13th guest at the party held by the Norse gods, where he unleashed evil and turmoil into the world.
He's a fun guy.
So,
that's interesting that it corresponds to multiple big religions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you know that in the painting of the Last Supper, Judas also spilt salt?
Ooh.
Which is why when you spill salt, you throw it over your shoulder. At least they believe that that's a connection to that. So
I did not know that one.
Yeah, if you look at the Last Supper painting, there's a spilt over salt on the table, kind of in the front on the left side of Jesus. Mm. So Judas spilling the salt.
I wonder, I don't remember that in the Bible, but I wonder if that's actually in the Bible or if it was just that artist that decided to add that in there.
I'm not entirely sure. I don't know, but either way, I think that's where it comes from. But I do want to get back to what you're saying as far as things that we grew up with superstitions, because I'm a bit of a gambler. I like gambling. I like taking risks. I'm a bit of a risk taker. I've always been into playing poker, betting on things. I just enjoy that. And so a lot of my superstitions go kind of hand in hand with that. As far as playing scratch offs, I might have a lucky coin. I use this coin to win because it's won me so much already. Or
so, saying that, Jake, I got to ask you, if you're playing poker and you get a dead man's hand, what do you do?
almost just for fun, because I like the dead man's hand, I almost always go in on that. Sometimes go in pretty hard just because I don't know. I'm into the westerns, Wild Bill, Dead Man's Hand. I tend to play that hand pretty strongly, which most people would. But
So, well, let's explain the dead man's hand, because I don't know. A lot of people might not know what it is. I'm very iffy. I know like how it is, like how it exists. I don't remember who had it when they were killed. Do you want to enlighten us on that, Jake?
yeah, so it was Wild Bill. He was I'm not sure. I know some of the details are true. They did do a representation of it in Deadwood. I don't know if you remember or not in Deadwood watching that. But basically what happened is Wild Bill was shot in the back, and he was that was the hand that he had when he was shot in the back and killed. In Deadwood, they kind of made it seem like he was playing against let me see here, the guy's name real quick. Jack McCall. That's what it was. He was playing against Jack McCall. In Deadwood, they kind of made it out to seem like what had happened was they were playing. Wild Bill basically took all this guy's money and then kind of offered him a coin to go get some breakfast, and the guy took it as an insult, came back and shot Wild Bill in the back and had aces.
He took it as an insult?
Yeah, in Deadwood, that's what they said, because it's like basically, imagine I took all your money and then I was like, and then you took it as like, oh, I'm having pity on you. Like, here, go buy yourself some breakfast, loser, kind of thing. And I don't think Wild Bill, in the show at least, Wild Bill didn't mean an insult by that. He was, I think, just being kind. But and I'm not sure if that part of it even happened, quite honestly, because that was a TV show, TV show adaptation. But I do know that it was Jack McCall shot Wild Bill in the back, and he had aces and eights. That's the short and truthful version of it. What happened around that, I don't know if anybody knows except for historians or who was actually there. I mean, we can read books and watch shows, but who knows?
Unless there's like some weird dictation in someone's diary. I know, like, you can find like Wyatt Earp's memoirs, and I think maybe one of the other OK Corral people have some books that they wrote, or maybe not books, but I just said like notes and memoirs.
Yeah.
It's possible that information might be out there, but it's
staying with that theme of gambling, also blowing on the dice or kissing the dice before you roll dice, things like that. I mean, it's kind of funny. I think a lot of gamblers are really superstitious in the fact that it's like, you could be sitting there playing cards, and if you pass the deck around, which a lot of times they do at poker games, you might even feel like certain people deal you better cards than other people, and this and that and everything else. And realistically, we all know that those things are mostly chance. If the cards are shuffled correctly and somebody's not cheating, of course. But, I think a lot of people, and you see it in sports a lot too. They wear the same socks for 10 games in a row or something, because those are the socks that win the game, or, whatever it is, those kinds of things. So I don't know. I think in a lot of sports, competition, gambling, I think that superstitions are very, very prevalent in those circumstances.
Yeah, I didn't even think about blowing on dice. But playing Dungeons and Dragons, I do like to blow on my dice for a lucky roll. So,
Lady Luck, baby. Well, you're not. You also have the shorter hair now, but I can't even go there. But that's a lot of times. That's why you see the beautiful woman at the craps table. When you got the guy rolling the dice and he lets her blow on him or kiss him first before he lets him go.
Yep.
So again, you were kind of on that. I think that's one. And I mean, of course, I grew up with the normal ones. cats was never a thing with us. We've always been cat people, and I've always liked black cats. Cats are not which cats are very cultural as well. I mean, if you go to Japan or Egypt, I mean, cats were seen as good things. They were seen as, and in some cultures, they even fight off evil spirits or keep evil spirits away, or, and I kind of believe that because I've had cats my whole life, and they're really weird.
Does anyone know why it's black cats specifically?
I don't know. I almost want to say that it just has something to do with like witchcraft, the black arts, the devil, darkness. I don't know.
It has to do with witches, but in my notes, I don't think it said anything specific about why it's black cats. Yeah, it doesn't say anything specific.
Yeah, because I know, like, back in, I don't know, the bubonic plague era, crazy old cat ladies who just had a bunch of cats around were always fine, and they were always thought to be witches.
Yeah.
But no, they were fine. They didn't suffer from any effects of the Black Plague because they had cats, which kept away the rats and kept away the fleas. So,
yeah, I mean, and there's usually a very logical, sane reason to most things, especially things that, have actual purpose that aren't chance. I think a lot of it is chance. I think whether you cross your fingers or knock on wood, it's going to happen either way.
Right.
But I mean, we're still all going to keep doing it because God forbid we don't, and then something terrible happens, and then we're going to blame it on that.
So. I know of another one that was really popular when I was growing up too, but I never participated in that one at all. It was the one where it's like you find a penny, and if it's on, the face side, it's lucky, but if you pick it up and it's on tails, then it's unlucky. And if I found a penny, I was just like, sweet, I get to put it in my piggy bank. And I didn't care. I didn't care if it was like tails or heads. I didn't care anything about bad luck or good luck. I didn't believe in any of that. But I definitely did participate in the crossing your fingers. I did that a lot in school. Even though I didn't believe it really, like I definitely did it. I think it was just like I was just going with the flow of like everybody else was doing it,
Well,
that
shit.
kind of thing.
Good for you in your school, because in my school everybody was smoking pot and
we had
getting
some
into
of that.
fights and stuff. So if I was just doing what everybody else was doing, crossing my fingers, I probably would have been a whole different person. That's mostly a joke, but pennies were some of the first items treated as a representative of good versus evil. One of society's most prevalent dichotomies is that of good versus evil, wherein good is associated when concepts such as lightness, luck, beauty, and justice, and evil is linked to selfishness, neglect, and immorality. In ancient societies, people believed that certain metals, such as copper, were gifts from the gods and meant to protect humanity. Therefore, coins such as pennies had lucky properties. However, these same societies also believed in an ever-present battle between good and evil forces. So heads-up pennies came to be associated with luck, while the averse earned a less fortuitous reputation. So that is why the heads-up on the penny is good, and the back side is evil.
Huh. I always thought maybe it had something to do with like, since it's like the tail side, and the tail is like where you use the bathroom, like that was meaning that it was bad. That's what I thought when I was little. Nobody really explained it to me.
Isn't the tail side of a penny a courthouse?
Yeah, it is. But but when you're little and you hear tails, what do you normally think of?
That's true.
Yep.
The butt.
But with that logic, though, you'd think that a lot of guys, as they got older, would be happy to pick up the tail side.
Yeah, some tail.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, look, I found me some tail.
Yeah.
Especially with how thirsty they are these days. Yeah. So anyway, what else did you? What else were you doing there, Jen? You were knocking on wood. You were crossing fingers.
Yeah. What ones did I actually participate in, or that I knew of that was popular?
Well, I think we all kind of knew a lot of them are popular. You know what one is I never bought into, I never did, never cared about, I don't even know what it's about, is opening up an umbrella indoors.
Oh yeah, I don't care anything about that.
Yeah, I literally don't give a shit
Definitely.
about that one way or the other. The only thing that sucks is
Yeah.
like closing an umbrella inside sucks because then you get water.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And you get the floor all wet.
I remember being like a really young child and like getting in the bathtub to take a bath, and I turn on the shower head and open up an umbrella, and I'm just sitting in the bathtub with an umbrella, enjoying the rain. But yeah, no, like
beard wet.
Oh, 6-year-old Rob, full beard.
You had a beard.
Sure.
You definitely had a beard at 6. Yeah, that's how I see it too.
But yeah, no, I don't. I do remember a few times, like maybe one of my uncles was like opening up umbrella inside, or like it never was a thing other than like once or twice when someone mentioned
like, shut up,
it.
Uncle. That
yes,
silly.
I don't care.
We're not doing that one, but I'm gonna knock on this wood. But screw your umbrella thing, you know? Yeah. Anyway, Jen, I know I cut you off. You were about to say.
I did remember one that I did participate in. Lucky Rabbit's Foot. I had a Lucky Rabbit's Foot. They were quite popular in the 70s and 80s. I know for sure in the 80s because I was born in the 80s. But I'm pretty sure I got it out of like one of those coin machine things. Yeah. But I loved that thing. It was like a little keychain, little rabbit's foot keychain. And I brought it with me almost everywhere.
Yeah, I had like different color, like one of every color.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I think I only had 2. I know I had a white one and I had a pink one, but the white one was my favorite. Yeah. I don't know why. But I liked it because like I could feel it. Like I would always like play with it. I would like pet it. And that sounds weird, but yeah, I would pet it and like feel it. And I could feel like the little claw. Because it was real. It felt pretty real. Real rabbit foot.
Old fidget spinner.
Yeah, kind of. Well, that's kind of like that.
You really don't see those anymore. I think Peter probably got on that one, if I had to guess.
Yeah. Should I apologize on this podcast for people today at home listening to this? Totally aghast that I had a rabbit's foot that was real.
What is it? Is it Count of Monte Cristo, where I think it was Napoleon that said, was it Napoleon in Count of Monte Cristo? Somebody in Count of Monte Cristo said that, what is it, like being a hero is only a matter of dates or something like that. Oh. Basically, I've always thought about that because it's like really, it's kind of true because one day you're a patriot, the next day things happen, and all of a sudden you are a traitor, you know? It's like that in the world. So times change. And back in the 80s and 90s, the rabbit's foot was something very common for children to have. I had a bunch of all different colors. And looking back on it now, I don't know if that's the most humane thing. I hope they weren't literally just killing rabbits for their feet. I mean, I'm sure they were because that's the world we live in. But as a child, I didn't really think about that. Yeah, it was real. They were absolutely real. There's claws and stuff. It was totally real.
Certainly.
Bob, you didn't have a rabbit's foot?
Oh no. My mom actually ran the county rabbit rescue.
Oh God!
Yeah, she had a lot of rabbit feet.
Oh boy! Well, they were, but they were still on the rabbits.
Yeah. You're still lucky.
But how easy would it have been for you to get rabbit's feet though, as they naturally passed?
I mean, if I were inclined to do so, I could have.
I mean, you'd have been a much luckier person, obviously.
I don't know. I think with all those feet still being on live rabbits, I think they still had their luck. Or maybe excess amount of luck.
It could be true.
I do have some notes on rabbit's foot, lucky rabbit's foot.
Let's hear them, Jen. I want to hear about rabbit's feet.
Okay. So many different cultures believe rabbits are magical and powerful. In German and Scottish folklore, rabbit's hair was believed to be able to put the evil eye on people, but you could use the rabbit's foot as the antidote to the curse. Also, a rabbit is one of the many animals that witches can transform themselves into. A true lucky rabbit's foot is one cut from a shape-shifting witch. I did not know that until I looked it up. Thought that was pretty cool.
I don't know if I had any of those.
And in The Witch, like the movie The Witch, she does shapeshift into a rabbit.
Yeah, that's true.
She does. 'Cause I watched it not too long ago.
Oh.
I wonder
if several things. Rabbit was one of them.
Okay.
I wonder if I
have to pay attention to that the next time I watch it.
Yeah, it's like a couple of different animals, or 3 animals. I think it's three different animals they shapeshift into, but one of them was a rabbit.
Okay.
Okay, so I was like sitting here thinking, I was like, do witches turn into black cats? Is that why we have the black cat thing? And what I've got here on black cats is in the Middle Ages, people associated black cats with the devil and therefore tried to exterminate them all, which is terrible because I love black cats.
Yeah, me too.
Back in the 14th century, the association between black cats and the devil was so prevalent that people allegedly believed they were causing the Black Death pandemic, Rob, and tragically attempted to exterminate them as a result.
Yeah.
Later, when the 16th century hysteria over witchcraft was at its peak, suspicious Europeans associated black cats with so-called witches, believing them to be their familiars.
Mm-hmm.
And this notion spread all the way to America during the Salem witch trials. Now witchcraft and the occult are in vogue. There are even stories dedicated to all things witchy. I don't know why that's even there. Trying to keep it clean, guys. Trying to keep it clean. Yeah, so they don't turn into them. They're their familiars. Which, that's right, because Sabrina the Teenage Witch had a black cat, did she not? I didn't watch that show. I remember I think it was on before or after a show I used to watch.
Yeah.
It's right around Buffy, I think. I don't know.
There's something on, and that's why I used to see the previews and stuff, but it had that girl that I think is the worst actress ever in it.
Are you talking about Sabrina?
Yeah.
Melissa Joan Hart.
Melissa Joan Hart?
Yeah, Melissa Joan Hart is the worst. She is like one of the worst actresses ever. I think I've said
she's not greatest.
I'm on this. No, she's terrible. I agree. Like at best, her acting skills are like a okay Hallmark film. At best.
Well, that's all she does now.
In Clarissa,
well, that's good because that's where she belongs.
Yeah, sorry, Jen. What was that?
I thought she did pretty good in Clarissa Explains It All, but like I feel like she didn't get much better. Like Sabrina felt almost the same to me. You know, there was no growth. In my opinion.
When a child actor stays at the child acting level, not a good sign.
That's probably why it's so bad. That's probably why it's so bad. She is the worst. If you watch her in anything as an adult, it is bad. Just the worst thing ever. I did watch a movie the other night that had Joey Lawrence in it. That was pretty bad.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah, it was a shark movie, and it was pretty bad, actually. So, not even going to talk about the name or anything because y'all don't need to see it. I'm going to save you the trouble.
Oh.
So, Rob, with your experience growing up in other countries, did you come across any strange superstitions that maybe we were not practicing here in America?
Oh, I know I did, but like I was probably too young to even realize it. I mean, it's things like if you're out and about and the prayers start, like go over the intercoms on mosques and whatnot, everyone stops what they're doing. Even if you don't, like you're expected to do the same. So like, I don't know if that's really like a superstition but I guarantee you there was more. I was just way too young to realize what they were doing was superstitious or whatnot. I was like, oh, that's just what they believe.
That's what they believe. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of other countries, in Moscow, if you kiss or shake hands across the doorway or a threshold, your lover or friend will become your mortal enemy.
Okay.
Now, it says that here. So this says common superstitions around the world, is what I found this on. And the thing about that is that that could be true in Moscow. Specifically Moscow, it says, which is weird, not even Russia. But what I'm wondering is, though, is how would anybody know that? Like, did it instantly happen, or has it happened instantly multiple times? Because, or did, like, Jim and Pam, should I use their names for this example? Did Jim and Pam fall in love, kiss in the middle of a threshold or doorway, and then they got a terrible divorce and one shot the other, 30 years later, and they were like, do you remember that time that they kissed in the threshold, the doorway there? That has to be what this is. And then it just kind of spiraled out of control from there, because unless it happened instantly, how would you even know?
Well, that happened to Jimmy and Margaret, too. It's got to be a thing.
Jimmy and Margaret also kissed in the threshold. Yeah.
Mm.
So, wow, there's a lot of Jimmys. They're all getting Jimmys over there in Moscow. Jim and Pam, Jimmy and Margaret.
Their Jimmys rustled.
Yeah, there's a lot of, everybody's getting the Jimmys on. So never allow the broom to touch the feet of anyone you know, and that's in Afghanistan. According to the Torah Khan from Bethsaida, Maryland, if you sweep the floor and your broom touches the feet of a loved one of your parents will die.
Jeez, dramatic.
Yeah.
That's terrible, and that sucks because your parents had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But I guess in some cases, if you just really can't stand your parents, it's a lot cheaper and easier than going to jail for the rest of your life. So,
So if you hate your parents.
Yeah, if you hate your parents, just walk around hitting your friends with a broom and hit your friend's shoes with a broom. Keep your shoes off the table. Not only is it gross, but in Britain it is considered bad luck because it symbolizes the death of a loved one.
Oh.
Where does this come from? What does that mean? Like,
well, I know, like, over when you were talking about, did I experience any? That was a thing in Arab culture too. Is don't show people the bottom of your feet. It's bad juju. It's excessively disrespectful. Just don't do it. So I don't know if, like, their grandma's head is going to explode or something, but whatever the outcome would be, just don't do it. So I would say that's a big one.
So if you're riding down the street and somebody's not giving you the finger, they're sticking their foot out the window, that's time to raise holy hell.
Pretty much.
Okay. Don't flip over a cooked fish. In some coastal regions of China, it is bad luck to flip over a cooked fish, as many believe this will lead to a ship capsizing. Where are the connections coming from? Instead, many families use chopsticks to pick up the meat from the bottom of the fish, then they are finished with the top. When they are finished with the top. Where are these correlations coming from, though? It's like if Jake puts out his cigarette in a red ashtray, Rob's cousin in Montana is gonna fall off a cliff. Like, what? Like, what the? I don't get. Some of the correlations are a little strange.
Don't you put a hex on my cousin Chris?
You have a cousin in Montana, do you?
Yeah.
I'm terrible at geography. Are there cliffs in Montana? Because that would be even worse.
I would think so. Montana is Rockies.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's Rocky territory.
Never been to Montana.
Rocky
I think
Mountain.
I said something the other day about that, and somebody was like, no, that's actually the desert, not Montana specifically. But I was like, oh, I thought that wasn't the desert.
Actually, I'm not too sure about Montana. I could be completely wrong about that. So
I don't know almost anything about Montana.
So this one here is beyond the shoes. This is don't put your keys on the table, because in Sweden, it's more vulgar than superstitious, but people don't put your keys on the table. That's because during the olden days, sex workers would put keys on the table in public areas to attract clients.
Oh.
Okay.
I guess it was the key to the room that you could go get busy
probably.
in. It was like, hey, I got a room on the table. That's weird.
I don't know. I put my keys on the table all the time, like every day.
You must be a sex worker.
Oh.
All right, Jen, you're just trying to get some clientele here. We know. We know. Okay. Don't sit at the corner don't sit at a table corner. Okay. Because in Hungary and Russia, sitting at the corner of a table will mean bad things for your romantic life. The unlucky person who comes in late and has to squeeze into the side, according to superstition, will never get married. Bob, were you one time like shoved into the corner of the table?
You know, now that I think of it, I think I was. That one's got to be true. I don't think it's a superstition. It's fact.
So this one here is also a dinner table, and there's a lot of dinner table ones, and I think I'm going to go with a little bit of a theme here because, yeah. So in the Netherlands, singing at the dinner table, this one sounds a little footloose-ish to me, actually, but singing in the Netherlands during dinner means that you are singing to the devil and praising him for your food.
Well, call me a Satanist. I'm guilty on that one.
Well, you must be thanking the devil for your food. So,
blessed be.
It's so interesting because if these things were actually true, we would all be absolutely screwed because we don't even know about most of these ones here.
I think somebody just didn't want somebody else to sing at the dinner table, probably because they sang badly.
Like,
so they just made it one.
They're like, I love Sarah, but her voice is awful. Let's tell her that she's singing at that.
Yeah.
The cat's trying to climb a chalkboard. Ugh.
Yeah.
No one wants that.
You're sitting at the dinner table, and you're like, you know what I heard the other day? Singing to the devil at the dinner table. You know, if you sing, it's you're thanking the devil for your food, Sarah. I think that's how that one went down too. That was a good call, Jen. So this one I'm totally screwed on, which is don't sleep in a room with a running fan.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I'm
South Korea, many will not sleep in a closed room with a fan on. It is commonly believed that prolonged exposure to a running fan will cause hypothermia and asphyxiation.
Hypothermia.
Yeah. I don't know what else. I don't know what kind of fans y'all got, but apparently in Korea they make some killer fans. Those things are great.
I guess if we have wind turbines in between our houses,
yeah,
that's insanity. I need a ceiling fan to sleep.
I am going to go buy my next fan from South Korea because apparently that'll keep you cool. I'll save on my electric bill with my air conditioning and all of that. That would be good for me. I've seen this one, that movie I was telling you all about, the movie with Anthony Hopkins that I absolutely love. And then it slips my mind what the name of it is, The Edge. So The Edge, we've talked about that before, and in that movie, I'm reading this now, but I remember that from that movie, is give a penny if you receive something sharp. So you give a coin if somebody gives you a knife or something like that. Don't give something sharp to someone you are trying to start a relationship with. But if you do receive a knife, set, or scissors as a present, give the gift giver a coin as a present in return.
Wait, what?
Give them a coin. Give them a coin.
But why give them a coin?
I don't know. I didn't look up why. I just looked up the what, not the why on that one. Bird poop is good luck.
What?
If you get pooped on by a bird, it's good luck.
Yeah.
Is it
You don't
really?
go around like snorting bird poop or anything.
What about if your car gets pooped on by a bird? Is that good luck?
Let's see.
I have a lot of luck.
You might have heard this after an unfortunate picnic date, but a bird pooping on you actually will bring you good luck. It doesn't say anything about your car, Jen. Sorry. But it would have been really good, though, if it was like a bird pooping on you or Jen's car actually can bring good luck. This one's terrible for Rob. Stepping in dog poop with your left foot. Might seem gross or unlikely, but stepping in dog poop is actually considered good luck. Whoa, good job, Rob.
Hey!
Yeah. In France, if you do it with your left foot. Now, I don't know if that is the same if you do it with both feet, because that's what you did that night. But your left
Maybe
foot
it's
was
the
involved.
yin and the yang.
There you go.
Evening itself out. So I'm back at square one.
Oh, this one is just depressing, man. Syria banned yo-yos, and you're not supposed to play with yo-yos because they are believed to cause droughts.
What?
Weird.
How?
Can't
What?
make this
What
up.
correlation is that to a drought?
I'm not sure.
There we go.
I
You ever
probably
hear
should
the
have looked up
butterfly
the-
effect? Instead of a
No.
butterfly flapping its wings, it's the amount of centrifugal force a yo-yo creates. So, yeah, instead of creating a tornado, it sucks away all the wind and all the rain. I don't know.
Oh, you're just talking out of your ass.
Rob, did you get your haircut on Tuesday?
No, it was on Saturday.
Well, good, because getting a haircut on Tuesday in India will cause bad luck.
Ah, I skipped that one.
Yeah, don't walk under a ladder. We've all heard that. Full moons, hospitals on Wednesdays. Don't wear red during a storm. Horseshoes, black cats.
Hospitals on Wednesdays?
There's also something, the God bless you thing was because people believed, and I actually like this, so I kept this because I thought it was really cute. Said that, what is it? Middle Ages. Yawning and sneezing were both considered high-risk activities in the time of the ancient Romans and Greeks.
What?
I wanted
High
to say that.
risk.
Yeah, I wanted to say that really bad. Those were high-risk activities. People didn't bungee jump or jump out of planes. Those things actually didn't exist. People used to sit around and yawn and sneeze.
You're a
Now-
risk taker.
Living that dangerous life. Oh, yeah.
Living on the edge.
Yeah. There are a lot of ancient beliefs in general about a separable soul. It could separate for a brief period of time. When you dream, your soul is out of your body, so it can't get back in if you're sneezing.
Oh.
Oh, your
I
body
have
soul's
heard
trying to
that
get back
before,
in, and you
actually.
sneeze, you're sneezing your soul out.
Yeah.
So concerned believers started saying "bless you" as a divine safeguard against wayward souls, and apparently it works.
Well, I don't know. We
There's,
never said "God bless you." I know. Well, my parents always said "Gesundheit," which
Mhm.
is "God bless you" in German. I prefer to say "Godzilla." It's non-denominational.
I like it. It's even better.
when you catch them look at you weird, you say it's non-denominational. It's chef's kiss.
Even that
I might
chef's
start
kiss.
using that one.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's free use. Take it.
Thanks.
I think we just start swearing obscenities at people when they sneeze because nobody'd see that coming. So there are some movies connected. We're getting to that point in our show here where, for that, Jen, you always have stuff to add, and I always move on to the next thing. And I wanted to know where else you were going because you usually have some really good stuff.
Like, I do have more of the superstitions. I do have kind of a funny one.
Yes.
I thought it was funny.
Is it funnier than yawning and sneezing being a high-risk activity? That's pretty good.
Maybe about like on par with that.
Okay.
Well,
Lay
don't
it on
sneeze
us.
your soul out, but let's do this one.
Yeah. So an old Southern belief is that if an alligator crawls under your house, it means someone in your family is going to die soon.
Oh my God.
And all I could think of was, from the alligator.
From the alligator. Yep. Yeah.
I was just thinking of Florida because I'm pretty sure in Florida an alligator lives under everybody's house.
Probably.
I mean, yeah. You guys know, I don't know if you guys are as into true crime as I am, but you guys know that whenever they say it happened in Florida, it's going to be a saucy one. Florida is like the stringiest place on earth. Like it just, I don't know what they're eating or drinking down there, but something in Florida, something about Florida, man. That's always like the sauciest things, man. There's always something strange going on in Florida.
Florida man does blank.
Yeah. Florida man.
Florida man arrested for blank.
Yeah, it's great. That's always a winner right there.
speaking of like Florida and kind of like southern stuff, I do have a few more that are southern related. So in Louisiana, they hang a mirror outside their door because the devil is so vain he will get stuck looking at himself in the mirror and will leave you alone.
I actually like that. It's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
I thought it was cool.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
I dig that. That's an interesting one.
I think all of us
And
are like, you know.
I'm thinking about putting a mirror outside my house now, just at least for a good conversation topic, because that's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one.
Clean.
Keep it clean, yeah. So he can see himself and get stuck in the mirror. So there's another one also is like a deep south. I think it might be like Louisiana or something like that. One it's called haint blue. It's like a color called haint blue. Haint blue, yeah. And I looked it up because I was curious.
Blue, but it ain't blue.
Exactly. They did mention that.
Say Creole.
It's the saying, yeah. But I looked up the color and it's sort of like a Tiffany blue. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Tiffany blue. But like a blue green. It's like a blue green.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It says a pale blue green.
Yes.
Yeah. Continue, because I don't want to get into what you're about to say. So I think it goes into that.
People painted their porch area with haint blue to ward off haints or haunts. The tactic was to mimic the appearance of water, which ghosts cannot cross. This also has a bonus effect because it also decreases the chance of birds nesting in porch areas and may decrease wasps nesting there as well. I thought that was neat. That's a bonus.
Okay.
So
it won't like completely stop them. It'll just decrease it.
That one is also interesting. I think I like the Louisiana stuff, and that was also what I was thinking about when I started talking about this or thinking about this topic for the show. Is like the superstitions. I automatically also, besides going to like folklore, also went to like a lot of like the voodoo and like the the like Louisiana, like all that stuff there, like voodoo dolls and things like that. Because realistically, isn't that pretty much superstition? I mean, I don't know if superstition is like other things, but it's almost like the power is believing in it. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
I feel like that culture does create a lot of superstitions.
Yeah.
Just in general, because I feel like the superstitions are way more prevalent if you're in like Louisiana. It's a lot more tailored to, or their superstitions are more tailored to their lives, and there's much more of them. It feels like, at least.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just their culture.
Which I actually really enjoy it. I want to go down there. So I've never been, and I really want to do some ghost tours. And of course, I want to, get some beads and see some titties. But I do want to do the ghost tours, and I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm not saying I want to like get into voodoo, but I kind of want to like check that out while I'm down there. That kind of culture, like what's going on. I want to see the, I want to see like the witch doctor stuff, and the all the skull stuff, and I don't know. It's really cool. It's so interesting to me. I've always wanted to go. One day, I will.
Yeah, I actually might be going to New Orleans. In a couple months.
I might be in your bag.
Maybe.
Giant suitcase.
It's a tentative plan at the moment, but that's one of the reasons why I was looking up Louisiana and New Orleans kind of superstitions. Because, in case I do go, I definitely want to go to like some voodoo shops and oddity stores and like different things and ghost walks like you were talking about. Like definitely interested in that.
So now I'm jealous. Thanks, Jen. I try not to be a jealous person.
I may or may not go. I mean, it depends.
You may or may not should take me.
Maybe we should just all plan a trip and go ourselves.
Maybe we should.
I'm cool with that. More than merrier.
That sounds fun.
I will tell you, though, that if Rob and I do not go, I still think you should bring us back some kind of weird trinket or something. Because And then I think me and Rob are going to have like one of those weird horror movies, like Talk to Me or something. You're going to bring us back like the hand or something.
I was going to say, give me a monkey's paw. Like,
that'd be cool. I was going to say, I was gonna say that I'm gonna bring you back a voodoo doll, but for both of you, and y'all are gonna know it before I even give it to you.
Well, the power is believing, Jen. The power is believing. I think I need to know that there's a voodoo doll of me before it could actually affect me. And if you decide to put a pin in my back voodoo doll, that's not going to tell me anything because my back always sucks.
I just got rid of all my hair, so good luck.
Oh, Rob, I was going to bring that up. I actually read somewhere when I was going through all this stuff, and I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was Italian culture. There was the Romans, but there was a belief about fingernail clippings and hair. When you clip your fingernails or cut your hair, you're supposed to burn them so that people don't have access to them, so that people cannot use them for evil against you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty interesting, and I thought of you. So don't let anybody get your hair, dude.
I still have a bag of my hair because I'm going to donate it.
At this point in time, Jen, did you have anything else you wanted to add? Because I was going to kind of get into a little bit of the movie factor here.
I do have a couple more.
Do it.
Let's see. Leaving a pumpkin out at Halloween, derived from the older tradition of putting carved turnips with demonic faces outside to scare away evil spirits. And the jack-o'-lantern term comes from an Irish folktale about a man named Stingy Jack, who tricked the devil and was banished from both heaven and hell. As punishment, Jack was left to wander the earth, and Satan gave him a flame from hell to light his way. Jack then carved out a turnip to hold the light, earning him the nickname Jack of the Lantern. I like that one.
I like it.
Pretty cool.
I guess we got Stingy Jack and Jenny Green Tea. We're adding up the characters.
I find it weird that the precursor to the jack-o'-lantern, like a pumpkin, is a turnip.
Yep.
It's just such a massive change. It's just weird.
Root vegetables mainly.
And there was a reason for that, and God, I can't remember it now, but I do remember a while back, before we even thought about this topic for the show, I was reading something about that, where they ended up using a pumpkin because of a turnip shortage, or because there's something that had to do with, they used to use like gourds and turnips and stuff like that instead of pumpkins, and then it became pumpkins because of something, which I wish I knew, but I can't remember very well.
Yeah,
so
I don't know
maybe we'll have the facts on that next time. Jen?
Yes. Do you want me to continue? There is more.
Oh yeah, please.
So when I was in high school, I was really into a movie called The Crow. I don't know if you were, I don't know if you were going to talk about that one later or not, but
nope. No, I wasn't.
I wrote a poem which I do not have with me right now. It's in storage, but it was called Psychopomp.
Lame.
Okay. Thank you.
Come on, why'd you bring up the poem if you weren't going to read it?
Because it's in storage.
Well,
but I did have one, and it was titled Psychopomp. Because I did some research back then about it. Because I was really into The Crow, and I was into a book by Stephen King called The Dark Half. So anyway,
what are you saying? You're saying psycho what?
Psychopomp.
Like pomp and circumstance.
Yeah, pomp. Exactly.
Okay. I actually like that. That should be the name of our next channel if we ever have
Very
one.
Cool.
I liked
it. I liked it so much I did a poem. But anyway, so a psychopomp is a guide of soul. Sorry, a guide. Shit. It's basically like a guide that moves souls to the place of the dead.
So like Chiron.
Yeah. But several animals have been depicted as harbingers of the dead, but most often it is a bird such as owls, crows, ravens, vultures, and cuckoos. Their job is to escort newly deceased souls to the afterlife. They are usually looked at as bad omens that death is nearby. There are images everywhere in art, movies, and books.
I feel like that'd be really annoying to be brought to wherever with a cuckoo bird.
Cuckoo. I watched that movie.
Oh yeah,
I
we
watched
definitely need to discuss that at some point. No, I was actually the Ravens though. I was going to bring that in because Edgar Allan Poe had a lot to say about the Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely ravens, crows, black cats.
Oh yeah.
Edgar Allan Poe wrote about black cats as well.
He did. Yeah.
It's been a while since I've read Edgar Allan Poe. I don't want to get him confused with anybody else as far as what he's done.
Yeah.
But definitely ravens. Everybody knows ravens.
Yeah, that's the most famous. But there are like several movies that have psychopomps in them. So many that I can't name them all. But I mean, Twin Peaks have the owls. Also, I just recently rewatched Blowout, which is a Brian De Palma film that has an owl in it, like right before people die. Of course, there's The Crow, The Dark Half. Yeah, there's like several movies. It's everywhere. I think it was in Game of Thrones too.
So I wonder if Labyrinth could be considered that because of the owl at the beginning.
That snowy owl.
And
I think it was a snowy owl.
Something
beautiful
other than our life that we are living.
Yeah, could be.
Go to the next realm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a guide.
Yeah.
It guides you.
Yeah. No, that's actually awesome. I was going to bring up the animal things. Thank you for bringing that up. Which actually, it's ironic that all of those, not the vulture or the cuckoo, but those birds are my favorite birds. I love black birds. I love black cats. I think I just really like black animals, black bears, black panthers, whatever. Black is a cool color for an animal. It's always pretty sleek looking.
I do have a crow tattoo, so
nice.
I've loved crows, ravens, the whole shebang. Yeah, all blackbirds.
And owls are actually one of my all-time favorites. I love owls, and I have a connection to my aunt that passed away. Kind of got love for owls from her. That was her favorite bird when I was a kid. She passed away, unfortunately, but I always kind of associate owls with her. So actually, good vibes there for me. Good memories. Some of the movies I was going to bring up, talking about superstitions, and I feel like we really could have probably done a two-parter on this just because there's still so many superstitions that are interesting to discuss. And it's, hard to get too in-depth with anything. There's so much stuff to cover. But the Tooth Fairy. So I was going to bring up the Tooth Fairy from Dead Silence. You guys remember that movie? We spoke about that, I think, on another show. And I think it was one of Jen's fairy tale shows, possibly. But that's also where I started to get the connection between fairy tales and folklore and superstitions, because putting the tooth under your pillow, is I would consider that to be a superstition, but it also kind of goes into that level of like fairy tale. You get the money for the tooth, and then of course, Dead Silence turned it into the Tooth Fairy. You don't see, if you see her, you're gonna, she's going to kill you. Of course, that was, the horror twist on it. But also the one that I think is really, really good, and we've talked about this movie a little bit, and I know that I'm a huge fan. I know that Rob's also a huge fan. I think Jen is as well, probably. But Candyman.
Yes, love Candyman.
Which Candyman is also kind of a play on the whole Bloody Mary situation, saying the thing in the mirror 3 times, the superstition of them coming after you. And, there was a point in my life where when I was much, much younger, a child actually, where, I would have been afraid to say Bloody Mary in the mirror 3 times. Not necessarily because I thought it was true, but I've also kind of under the belief that even though I don't believe in a lot of things, I also feel like there's a lot of things that shouldn't be messed with. Kind of like why I don't have a Ouija board, I don't know. I always felt like a Ouija board, I'm not necessarily believing that we're going to call demons to us or anything like that, but it's also kind of one of those things where I'm like, if it were true, why mess with it? It's not going to cost me anything to not do it. I don't know.
So, I've never owned a Ouija board, but I've always wanted a Waluigi board.
You always wanted a what?
Is that a thing?
A Waluigi board.
Waluigi?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, now I get it. it's a game reference. Yeah, it took me a minute. Okay.
So one other thing that
stupid things all the time. It's I
Did they
gotta
really
get a
make
few
one?
in there.
I was wondering if
I'm
they really
pretty
made one.
sure you can find one on like Etsy that someone's made.
Yeah.
Is it yes or no or what or wah?
Oh, well, if it hasn't been made, it should be.
I mean, brain trust right here. You can go ahead and get in the Waluigi board business.
Yeah.
When I kind of looked up movies that have to do with superstitions, Final Destinations came up, and I'm not entirely sure what. Jen, you kind of acknowledged that. Where do you see the connect? Because I was trying to make the connection with the superstition and Final Destination, and is that really?
I feel like that's more urban legend. Don't you
That's
think?
what I was thinking. I was thinking so too. I think that they're all like while they're all kind of related, I don't think all of them fit into all of the buckets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But then that put me on this interesting track where I was thinking about like Final Destination and how we do things or there's moments that lead to like our death, for example. And it's like, the idea of trying to do something different to ward that off. You might look like a crazy person, but in the end, is your thought process and doing those crazy things actually just one more action that's leading you to that moment? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know with the Final Destination movies, till this day, like to this day, I still get very nervous if I'm behind a log truck or even one that has pipes.
Who has seen that movie has that superstition because of that movie.
Yes. And I can't help it. Because I keep picturing it happening.
Slow down. I will take an exit and find some food or I can't.
Yeah.
See, and I know we discussed that as well on one of our last shows. I don't remember what the topic was, but that doesn't bother me because I think I understand how wood works. So I'm not too afraid of the wood truck.
I'm more afraid that somebody didn't secure it correctly.
Yeah, but it doesn't slide. It's like, first of all, it's like bark. Bark is like sandpaper. It's not like you don't move very easily. And those things are heavy, super heavy.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're not light. But I get you. I mean, in that movie, though, it definitely made them look like they were just, not that serious, and they just kind of flew all over the place. But, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I would. That's something that if anybody's listening right now and you have an idea about that, I would love to know what your idea is about the correlation between Final Destination and superstitions. Because I was kind of racking my brain about it, and I was like, I don't really know if it fits in. I think that certain deaths may have led into the superstitious. Like some of them may have been, like a superstitious thing, but I don't know necessarily that the movie itself or the premise itself fits into the superstition category. So there's that.
Has anyone ever made a movie that was like solely about superstitions? Because if they have, I have not seen it. I've seen some urban legend ones that were specifically about urban legends, but urban legends. But I don't think I've seen one that was specifically about superstitions. Is there?
Yeah,
is there one that you guys know?
When I was looking up movies, there were a few movie titles that I'd never heard of, so I didn't really want to bring them up necessarily because I hadn't seen them just yet. But I don't know. One thing that I'm kind of thinking about is I feel like The Ring had a lot of superstitious stuff in it. I don't know. That feels to me like there's a lot of superstition around that movie, especially with the horses and everything. And I'd probably want to look more into that. I just thought of that right now, so I don't have anything on that. But
it was mentioned when I was looking up the psychopomps because it says that it's several different animals. It's not just birds; it's just mostly birds. But horse is one of them. A horse can be a psychopomp.
Yeah, there's also a lot going around the horses, like the horseshoes, hanging a horseshoe over a doorway. Horseshoes supposed to be good luck. People always say he's got a horseshoe up his ass when somebody's doing really well or winning a bunch of stuff.
Oh, horseshoes are considered lucky.
Horseshoes, rabbit's feet. all that fun stuff. So, 4-leaf clovers.
Yep.
Going back to my leprechaun love, even though they're actually a weapon leprechaun, but that's how you kill the leprechaun. Which is, I always thought was a little weird that in the leprechaun movies they use the 4-leaf clover to kill the leprechaun, because I don't know, in my mind I feel like leprechauns would have 4-leaf clovers, like it'd be their thing, just based on pretty much everything I know about the front and back of a Lucky Charms box. So I mean, a little confused about that.
Well, if you're M. Night Shyamalan, you can read the back of a cereal box and read the prophecy of what's going to happen in the future. Save all of humanity.
It's possible. It's possible.
But only if you're M. Night Shyamalan.
He's got the powers, man. I've been saying it forever. Jen, did you have anything else you wanted to add, or anything else you wanted to go over?
Yeah, I have like a few more. So I guess one of the most popular superstitions that I know of, that I've not participated in, but definitely in working retail in the past, for sure, has come up. So the number 666, the devil's number.
Devil's number.
Of course, with retail, it's like, oh my God, my total is $6.66. I have to buy a stick of gum or whatever, a pack of gum.
Yeah. I don't think they sell sticks of gum anymore.
Yeah.
Definitely showing your age there, when we could go to the local store and buy, a whole like 15 cents.
Okay. I am old, yes.
Let's say we're all basically the same age.
I was gonna say, I mean, I remember that.
Close.
I remember being a kid, and 25 cents was like, 3 gumballs and, a stick of licorice and 2 or 3 other items, I mean,
gumballs for sure. Yeah. Or chiclets.
Yeah.
A whole handful of chiclets that would last for like 2 seconds. You put them in your mouth and the flavor's gone.
Yeah, well, that's like the fruit stripe gum there. You basically. Oh man.
It was so good for 3 seconds.
Yeah. It was just. But that 3 seconds was like the best flavor of your life. Yeah.
Pretty good.
It just sucks. Like you don't. It's almost like throwing. Like if you lit a firecracker in your hand, you want to throw it. It's almost like you want to put the gum in your mouth and chew it and spit it out just before the flavor goes, but you can never like time it right, and then you're like, oh man, flavor's gone.
Like a Willy Wonka firecracker.
Yeah, just to hold on to that. Just to hold on to that flavor a little bit longer. What else you got, Jen?
Yeah. So the number 666.
Oh yeah, where's it come from? Do you know?
Well, I mean, I feel like a lot of people do know this already. But it's in the Book of Revelation. Yeah, as the number of the beast in the Bible.
Yep.
There have been findings in a fragmented papyrus of a codex with parts of the Book of Revelation found in Egypt that the actual number of the beast is 616 instead of 666. Yeah.
We've been wrong this whole time. No wonder we can't conjure the devil, Rob. We've been using the wrong number.
You didn't know? Well, you better call somebody.
We've been using 666, and it's been like beep, beep, beep. This number has been disconnected. Like, what the hell's going on? Where's the devil?
Where's my Satan?
I do think that 666 is a lot cooler sounding than 616.
Sounds like you're dialing like an information number to find out where like the gas lines are for, like putting in, I don't know, just doing road work or something,
Yeah.
I was gonna say it kind of sounds like one of those corny ass kids, like with their like 616. Like people always think like where their area code is important or something like that.
Yeah.
Like 8 Mile 313 or whatever.
So everybody from the 313.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. But everybody from the 616.
I don't know.
In the water of the river Styx.
Oh.
I don't know if that's really going to like catch on, that 616 thing. And, I haven't heard anything about it. Like I didn't know about that until I looked this up. And I think they did the research in like I want to say it was maybe 2020, or it wasn't that long ago when they found that out. It was somewhere in the last 10 years, I think, that they found that codex papyrus thing.
If it's 2020 or later, like you said, I think we're dealing with too much to worry about it.
True.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. But I thought that was cool. I don't know exactly how true it was. I did find out this information on the internet. So
that's how you
don't
know it's
know.
reliable.
Don't know for sure if that one was very factual. Although I think I got that one from Wiki, but Wiki.
Yeah.
Sort of good research, but not really.
Yeah, I mean, when we do the research on this show, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say it, and people can take whatever they want from it. I'm not exactly looking up scholarly journals for a lot of my information, only because it's kind of a fun show, and I'm just kind of looking for sort of mass appealing information. I'm not trying to write a 20-page paper on fact check everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm putting this on the internet, so it's got to be true.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of how this show works. It's just us discussing some fun stuff we found.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll accept it.
If anyone wants to look it up for themselves on Wiki, they can. It's under Papyrus 115.
What's that Pixie song in my head? Like, if man is 5 and the devil is 6, then God is 7. I don't know if y'all are into the Pixies or not. I love the Pixies.
Love the Pixies.
But I don't know. That's what I was thinking about for the last 5 minutes. I figured I might as well mention it. All right, Jen, what else you got for us? Or have we hit the end of the Jen well?
I found an interesting legend, but it's not a superstition. I don't know if you want to hear that, since that's not.
I mean, you already brought it up, and since you're not going to read us your poem, we might as well hear this legend.
Can't. It's encouraged. So there is a legend of the Honey Island Swamp Monster, also called Cajun Sasquatch. It is an ape-like creature with webbed feet, matted gray hair, and yellow eyes. They claim it is the offspring of swamp alligators and chimpanzees from a wrecked circus train. I thought that was pretty cool, actually.
I was totally going to bust on you and be like, what does that have to do with anything? But that's actually kind of awesome. And I have heard of that.
Yeah.
I've heard of that creature before, but I've never heard of the origin of him. So sounds really fun. It also sounds like he probably smells really bad. I don't know. That was what I was gathering from part of what you were saying there, because he's got to stink.
I'm sure he stinks. Yeah, kind of like the normal Bigfoot probably stinks.
But there was that great scene in Harry and the Hendersons where they gave him a makeover. So,
yeah.
All day.
Yeah, it was really fun. Still one of the best Bigfoot movies ever. I don't care what anybody says. Childhood fave. All right, well.
Definitely a classic.
Jen or Rob, did you guys have anything else to add on superstitions or fun creatures that are from carnival accidents?
I'm pretty solid. I'm good.
I've covered most of mine.
So we're back because Jen did not get to say something that she wanted to say in the show.
Okay, we can always cut it if we don't need it. So I was gonna say that
after this,
when
Jen
I was
is going to read us her
thinking,
poem.
no, I'd have to find it first. And even then, I still probably wouldn't read it. Not to everyone in the world.
We have 125 viewers. This isn't everybody in the world.
Well,
we'll go viral.
A very small knit community around the world.
Yeah, we have some people in Canada and UK that would love to hear your poem, Jen.
Well, maybe one day. I don't know. So what I was going to say, and I forgot to say it earlier, was that when I was thinking about superstitions, I did read somewhere about superstitions are a lot about control. And it got me thinking about like people with OCD. And I think there might be like a possible correlation behind that. Because people with OCD, they do things like, tapping a doorknob like however many times or whatever. And they do it because they think something bad is going to happen. But they feel like they are in control. If they do that, then something bad won't happen. And it just that reminds me of superstitions, because it's basically the same idea.
Don't break the routine.
That was all.
You know what though? You just had me thinking my wheels started spinning, and maybe superstition didn't necessarily come as much from religion as it came from mental illness. Because because I was just thinking about it, and OCD may have existed 1,000 years ago, but it definitely didn't exist as far as it being a clinical study or a clinical definition or whatever you want to say, clinical term, I guess. So people have been mentally ill for a very, very, very long time, like since probably the beginning of time. I'm sure a lot of, especially like the artists and writers back in the day, were mentally ill and things like that, philosophers, and hell, I wouldn't be surprised if some religions were started out of mental illness. But anyway, the point is that anyway, the point is that with mental illness being around as long as it has, maybe a lot of superstitions did start that way because there's no explanation for those things, but some of those things became maybe common or interesting among certain groups, and that kind of started some. So, I mean, that's a really good call out, honestly. I mean, I could see that, like OCD and things like that, kind of being a catalyst for some of these things. So,
yeah, it's a possibility.
Who knows? Who really truly knows? I mean, as we said before, history is about to be basically erased with all of the AI and everything going on. So, and at this point, I mean, I think sometimes when we talk about history, I also like recognize like how far removed are we from the history? Like it could be so different or so not even what happened, but it's just what's been reported or collected throughout history. I mean, of course, it's always been kind of a common thing that history is written by the victors because, they're the ones that live to talk about it and they're the ones that write the history books. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, when it comes to a lot of things that have happened, I'm sure there's so many different reasons and explanations that could have really just started from some silly, that we have no clue about, that we've just kind of carried with us forever and it's evolved into what it is. On that note, thank you, Jen, for bringing us back. And now we're going again.